These are the reactions and dynamics of narcissists when their true nature is revealed. Hello, esteemed audience. Today, we're diving deep into a topic that may strike a chord with many of you. What unfolds when narcissists realize that you've pierced through their facade? It's not uncommon for people to sense they're not being treated fairly, but grasping the full extent of manipulation and understanding the impact of narcissistic behavior can pose quite the challenge. Whether you've found yourself trapped in a relationship with a narcissist or are simply fascinated by the signs that surface when they realize you've seen through their mask, you're in for a treat. Join us as we navigate through the complexities of this revelation. Before we plunge into the depths, if you enjoy this content, show your support by hitting the like button. And if you haven't already, subscribe for more thought-provoking discussions. Let's cultivate a community where we can share experiences and insights. Now let's embark on the journey of what happens when the facade starts to crack and narcissists acknowledge that you've exposed their true colors. It promises to be an enlightening voyage, so let's dive straight in. In challenging circumstances, some individuals may choose to steer clear of the narcissist's path, avoiding any potential conflict. Others might go the extra mile to please the narcissist, showering them with compliments or investing significant effort into the relationship. However, these endeavors often yield little success. Some may even suggest therapy, whether as a joint effort or individually, in hopes of resolving issues. Unfortunately, these attempts often fall short of truly grasping the situation with the narcissist. With time, certain individuals come to the realization that they're entangled with a narcissist, or, at the very least, someone who consistently causes turmoil. This awareness often dawns after enduring a prolonged period of feeling undervalued. For those in primary partner roles, this realization may take considerable time. Conversely, individuals in less intimate relationships may reach this point after being repeatedly marginalized and demeaned. Whether you're a primary partner, a secondary partner waiting in the wings, or someone involved in a covert relationship, there comes a moment when you discover that you're dealing with a narcissist or someone who perpetually disrupts peace. Now, what if you choose to deviate from the misguided paths mentioned earlier? You might decide to confront this individual, unmasking them as a narcissist, or labeling them as manipulative, abusive, and deceitful. But what happens when the narcissist realizes that you've seen through their act? Here's the crux. Most narcissists don't truly recognize that you've discerned their true nature because they're often oblivious to their own actions. Many fall into the category of being unaware of their behavior. It's not as if they're consciously thinking, I know I'm a narcissist, and now this person has discovered it. What should I do? Should I confess to deceiving and hurting people? They've uncovered my true self. What's my next move? No, they remain unaware of their true nature. So, when you point out to them that they might be a narcissist or manipulator, their genuine reaction is surprise. It might be challenging for some to believe, but that's because you might not have a full understanding of narcissism. Emotions could be influencing you, or you might be viewing things more from your perspective than the narcissists. It's crucial to recognize that when most narcissists are told they're a narcissist or accused of being manipulative and abusive, they sincerely reject it. They're not secretly acknowledging it while outwardly denying. In the case of a self-aware narcissist, the dynamic changes. They are aware that you've seen through them. However, whether you accuse an aware or unaware narcissist, their initial response is denial. They might assert, "No, I'm not." "What are you talking about? That's crazy." This denial is their attempt to quash the threat your accusation poses to their control. If you persist in accusing them, and they persist in denying, their narcissistic tendencies might lead them to resort to other forms of manipulation. They might choose to walk away, dismiss your claim, or even turn the tables by accusing you of being the narcissist. They might use physical aggression to silence you, or employ confusing language to refute your claims. Occasionally, a narcissist with some self-awareness might react by saying, "I understand why you might think I'm a narcissist. I see why you're concerned about that." However, they won't admit to it. They might state, "I acknowledge some similarities, but I'm not exactly a narcissist." Or they may give the impression of intending to change, but fail to follow through. It's just another way for them to manipulate you, even when they appear apologetic or understanding. Regardless of the circumstances, these types of narcissists won't truly comprehend or acknowledge that you've uncovered their authentic self. They will deny it and employ various tactics to maintain control. Accusing a narcissist may not always lead them to terminate the relationship, especially if you're their primary partner. However, if you're a secondary partner, they might withdraw or keep you in a state of waiting. What truly matters is how you respond after realizing you're entangled with a narcissist. It's not merely about labeling them as a narcissist or manipulator. It's about your subsequent actions. If you alter your behavior because you've recognized their true nature, the narcissist will sense that something has changed. Continually accusing a lesser or mid-range narcissist, even if it strokes their ego, will be perceived as a challenge, and they'll attempt to exert control over you. For example, if you deviate from the narcissist's expectations or behave differently than before, they will take notice. In the past, when the narcissist ignored you, you might have pursued them. However, if you cease such behavior, it signals to the narcissist that something significant has shifted. Accusing them doesn't bother them as much as changing your behavior does. If you label a narcissist as such but continue to interact with them in the same way, it doesn't significantly impact them. You are still providing them with what they desire. While the accusation may momentarily challenge their control, once dismissed, it ceases to be a concern for them. The crux of the matter is this. When your conduct undergoes a shift, the narcissist recognizes that you've unraveled their true nature. A highly self-aware narcissist will grasp this fact. On the other hand, a lesser or mid-range narcissist might not fully comprehend it, but will sense that something is amiss because you're challenging their control. If you're their primary partner, they might begin treating you poorly or excessively nicely in an attempt to realign you. However, once they regain control, the facade of kindness fades and you revert to being mistreated. In the case of a secondary partner, if your behavior changes, the narcissist might choose to ignore you and divert their attention elsewhere. Later, they might check in to assess if you've reverted to your previous behavior. If there's no change, you might find yourself relegated to the sidelines. Thus, while calling them out may momentarily inflate their ego, it doesn't pose a significant problem for them. However, when behavior changes are observed, that's when complications arise. A highly self-aware narcissist will comprehend the situation, while the lesser or mid-range one may not fully understand, but will feel a loss of control due to your altered behavior. If you're a secondary partner, you might experience brief mistreatment and subsequent neglect as the narcissist focuses on someone else. As the main partner, you might face deteriorating treatment and attempts to be nice as a means of regaining control. If these efforts fail, they might choose to end the relationship. For a secondary partner, they might leave you on the shelf for a while, only to attempt reconnection when it suits them, and your response may align with their desires due to the passage of time or a different approach from them. In essence, when a narcissist, whether consciously or instinctively self-aware, discerns that you've exposed their true nature, their immediate reaction is an attempt to regain control over you. This realization often arises from your accusations and, more significantly, a noticeable shift in your behavior. If the narcissist is unable to re-establish control, they may choose to sever ties, especially if you hold the role of their primary intimate partner, or alternatively, they might place you in a temporary state of suspension if you're a secondary source. This pattern is frequently observed in such scenarios. I extend my gratitude for your active engagement and the dedication you've shown in exploring the intricate dynamics of dealing with a narcissist. If you found this information valuable, I encourage you to demonstrate your support by liking, sharing, and subscribing to our channel for more insightful content. Understanding these patterns empowers us to make healthier choices in our relationships. Take care and stay safe until our next interaction. For additional resources and personalized guidance, peruse our free book and consider a one-on-one consultation. The link is provided in the description below. Feel free to share your thoughts or questions in the comment section. Your journey toward understanding and navigating these challenges is significant, and we're here to assist you every step of the way. I totally get where you're coming from. I understand your drive and the reasons behind considering such actions, especially given how they've treated you. But let me make one thing clear. This isn't about seeking vengeance. We'll delve into that in the video. Hey there, everyone. I trust you're all hanging in there. So, you're thinking about shaking things up and pondering the idea of dismantling their influence. I completely feel you on that. I really do. There's a straightforward method that might just do the trick. It might sound simple on paper, but in reality, it's no walk in the park. I get that it involves a series of steps, and not everyone's cut out for it. But hey, you've got what it takes. Now let's chat about dealing with a narcissist. First things first, I'm not advocating for any harmful actions toward another individual. Let's not forget, narcissists are people too, even if some of you might strongly disagree with me on that. But let's switch gears here. I understand why you're keen to tackle this issue, and it's not about tearing them down as individuals. It's about employing savvy strategies to handle them. Ultimately, the aim is to cut them out of our lives. And to do that, you've got to remove yourself from their orbit. You need to vanish from their radar and withdraw your energy, making it seem like you're no longer on their wavelength. This tactic will effectively take down the narcissist, in a manner of speaking. However, if you're determined to keep this person out of your life, action is necessary. I understand that not everyone can easily do this, especially if there are shared responsibilities like children or assets. But you can still minimize your contact with them. Remember, narcissists thrive on emotional connections, even if they don't genuinely feel emotions themselves. They crave emotional validation and are keen on understanding your thoughts, feelings, and motivations. They know you well and can predict your behaviors based on their observations. So, it's crucial to handle this situation strategically, focusing on reducing contact and being mindful of the emotional aspect. The priority is to protect yourself and ultimately sever any ties with the narcissist. The narcissist has been closely watching you, your body language, your expressions. For them, this is their lifeline. They're like predators, relying on these cues. They have a heightened sensitivity to such details because they need to gauge your reactions. They've meticulously studied your triggers and can anticipate your responses. However, by withholding this information, you become unpredictable to the narcissist. They can't predict your next move, your behavior, or your thoughts anymore because they've lost that insight. Your absence and lack of communication leave them bewildered. This perplexity deeply unsettles them, prompting the question, what's happening here? Deprived of their expected validation, narcissists face an inner turmoil. Validation is crucial for them, a fundamental need they relentlessly pursue. If you seek validation from a narcissist, understand that obtaining it requires manipulation. They won't readily offer it. You must coerce them into providing it. Initially compliant, they quickly grow bored, necessitating the narcissist to devise alternative tactics. Gaslighting and deceit may become tools to extract validation, compelling them to act against their true desires. It's important to emphasize that engaging in manipulative behaviors like gaslighting and lying is neither encouraged nor endorsed. Healthy and honest interactions should always be prioritized in any relationship. Using gaslighting, narcissists manipulate you into compliance, forcing actions contrary to your authentic self. Consider how it feels to act against your will, compromising your integrity. Initially, you may suppress your discomfort, repeating this cycle despite recognizing its dissonance. However, a tipping point arrives when you realize this isn't acceptable. Refusing to fulfill their desires, you inadvertently disrupt their core need for validation. Though not immediately apparent, narcissists depend on validation, constantly seeking it to validate their existence. However, if they're denied this validation, it hits them hard. They feel utterly devastated, ignored, and invisible, triggering deep wounds from their childhood. Just as their parents or caregivers might have treated them by disregarding their needs, the narcissist adopts a similar approach with you. When you fail to comply, they resort to either ignoring you or punishing you, echoing the behavior they experienced in their formative years. Sadly, no one intervened to address this harmful pattern, leaving them to believe it was acceptable. Consequently, they perpetuate this cycle, using manipulation to shape you into fulfilling their desires and expectations. When you withhold validation and attention, the narcissist experiences profound distress. Despite the presence of others who could potentially offer validation, they might specifically desire it from you. You could be their primary source of the validation, love, and attention they crave. There might be something unique about what you provide that fulfills their needs in a way others cannot. Hence, their fixation on obtaining validation from you is intense. It serves a specific purpose and boosts their self-esteem. Denying them this validation has a devastating impact, as it undermines their sense of power and confidence. In their perception, the more validation they receive, the greater their sense of self-worth and superiority. Imagine their perspective, a childhood marked by neglect, where insignificance was their constant companion, and their existence barely acknowledged. Something within them shifted during those formative years. Now, they relentlessly seek validation from any available source to compensate for the neglect they endured. One or two sources of validation aren't enough. They hunger for an ever-expanding audience. The more validation they receive, the more significant they feel. It becomes their lifeline, their way of being seen and acknowledged in the world. So, when this validation is suddenly withdrawn, it devastates them. Just one person retracting their validation serves as a stark reminder, triggering feelings of inadequacy and reinforcing their belief that they are unworthy of attention. These reminders dredge up the pain of their childhood experiences, which they desperately try to escape. To shield themselves from this pain, they resort to tactics like hiding, gaslighting, and projecting, all in an attempt to fulfill their fundamental need, to feel significant and recognized. This need drives their every action. My dear friends, I trust that what I shared here strikes a chord within you. It's crucial to understand that we're not advocating for stooping to the narcissist's level and engaging in their toxic behaviors. No, Dealing with them requires a strategic and thoughtful approach. You must strip away the very thing they crave the most, validation. This is how you dismantle their power over you. It's a tactic that confounds them and allows you to reclaim your own strength. However, executing this strategy isn't always easy. It requires reaching a point where this person no longer holds sway over your emotions and psyche. You must have faith in your ability to thrive without their presence. This entails redirecting your focus and energy away from them, paving the way for your own growth and healing. Remember, this is your journey, and you have the power to shape it according to your terms. Don't allow yourself to remain ensnared in their web of manipulation. You deserve a future free from their influence, where your own needs and desires take center stage. This is what true liberation looks like. Thank you all for tuning in, my dear friends. I sincerely hope that this discussion has provided you with valuable insights. Until we meet again, take care and farewell. Hey there, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to this video. You'd be amazed at the lengths narcissists never imagined you'd go to. If you're enjoying the content, please show your support by liking, subscribing, and sharing. But let's dive into something the narcissist never thought you'd do. Before we get into that, let's revisit your experience with the narcissist. What kind of connection did you have, and how did it affect you? And most importantly, how have you grown from it? You found yourself entangled with a narcissist without even knowing what narcissism was. Ignorance, in this case, was not bliss. You chalked up their behavior to having a rough day after another rough day, constantly playing the victim or inflicting pain on you. It was confusing, to say the least. You poured your time, money, energy, and love into the relationship, only to find yourself worse off than before, as I've discussed on the channel. You fell into the trap because you were too quick to give up. You tried to salvage a sinking ship of a relationship, while the narcissist was busy poking holes in it, ensuring it would eventually capsize. Why? Because they had another vessel ready to hop onto once they sank yours. These are just a few examples of the vicious cycle of narcissistic abuse. One person gives everything, while the narcissist takes everything and then some. They leave a trail of destruction in their wake, blowing up everything they touch. Let me illustrate with an example. Hey, buddy, you're overreacting a bit. But no, I'm not. What I've observed is that narcissists operate on a different wavelength. They don't process things like you do, can't dive into thoughts as deeply as you, or shoulder responsibilities the way you do. Their aim isn't growth, it's to leech off others, shattering them like paper once they've drained their resources, then moving on to the next target. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention, that next target is often another person. Remember, the narcissist likely sought you out as an escape from a previous relationship. Once they've extracted what they need from you, they'll seek out someone new, maybe someone less savvy, less educated, or just another unsuspecting victim. They might circle back to old acquaintances, childhood friends, or past targets for a fresh round of exploitation. These dynamics only worsen the narcissistic cycle of abuse. The circle keeps spinning, with the narcissist remaining the constant. They know their mindset holds them back, that their chaotic lifestyle is a trap, and they understand they can morph into whatever suits their agenda. They're aware they wear masks to deceive, that their facade isn't real. Their goal? To always feel superior to you. So when you returned home after dealing with the narcissist, you were left unsure if you'd encounter Dr. Jekyll or Mr. Hyde. It's all part of their plan, the emotional roller coaster, the uncertainty about what your relationship truly was. And then what? You turned to Google, searching "spouse won't communicate" or "verbal abuse," but the answers didn't quite fit. It marked your first step forward. Your journey unveiled the true nature of a narcissist and the potential you could become. Those toxic individuals never believed you'd unravel their selfish facade. Just as they underestimated you at the onset of the relationship, assuming you lacked the intelligence to see through their facade, do your research and tread cautiously. Think back to that moment. When did you encounter that intrusive person? Chances are they scrutinized you, probing into your life's intricacies. They delved into your finances, assets, dreams, goals, past relationships, family dynamics, building a profile of you. In their mind, you were the chosen one. They envisioned you as their next source of power, sustenance, and fulfillment for weeks, months, or even years to come. They were determined to latch on to you, weaving a web of love or friendship to keep you tethered. Behind their mask, they concealed their true intentions to manipulate, deceive, and distort reality. They were well aware that each passing day with them would chip away at your health and finances. This wasn't new to them. They had executed this scheme countless times before. But eventually, their resources dwindled. Perhaps you fell ill, lost your job, depleted your savings, or faced surgery. And then, just like that, the narcissist would likely discard you, moving on to the next waiting target, leaving you to pick up the shattered pieces of your life. The narcissist never anticipated you'd gather yourself after enduring all that you did. Reflect on this pivotal scene in the movie repeatedly. Their abuse was relentless, a daily, weekly, monthly onslaught spanning years or even decades. They were convinced something would break eventually. Either you'd leave them or they'd discard you. The alternative was to remain ensnared in their selfish fog, akin to a lifeless zombie. If you've been there, you understand the depths of what I'm saying. Drop a comment below if you're already familiar with this state. Being in that state, feeling emotionally depleted and shattered, you became an extension of their ego. Each day left you feeling more worn out. The narcissist never envisioned your recovery, your journey towards understanding narcissism, embracing total acceptance, and recognizing your own beauty, brilliance, and abundance. No, they lied, ensnared, and convinced you that you needed them. It's all about manipulation and stress, a constant push and pull forward and backward, leaving you in a perpetual state of instability. You couldn't find your footing because you were always being moved around. Every interaction with the narcissist left you uncertain, never knowing which version of them you'd encounter. There was no stability. That was their strategy, to keep you off balance, to keep you bonded to them. And then there's the trauma bond, an unexpected challenge you weren't prepared for, as it wasn't part of your education. You found yourself hollowed out as you grappled to understand what was happening. Things took a turn for the worse when the narcissist took control of your life. They occupied your thoughts day and night, leaving you tethered to your phone, anxiously awaiting their messages. Your responses had to be prompt. Any delay was met with scrutiny. You'd drop everything to update them on your every move, seeking their approval or acknowledgement, only to receive brief, dismissive replies like great or okay, or sometimes no response at all. Ever experienced this? Share your thoughts in the comments. In their eyes, you were reduced to a mere servant, a tool at their disposal, expected to comply with their every whim without question. You found yourself trapped in a cycle, drawn back to the narcissist by their manipulation or the trauma bond, all according to their design. They engineered your ignorance, ensuring you remained in the dark about their true nature. Once they had you in their grasp, they devalued you further, growing bored with the lack of challenge once the thrill of the chase was over. You became nothing more than an object on a shelf, to be used and discarded at their convenience. Their disappearing acts for hours, days, or even weekends were part of this game, as they sought new sources of supply or indulged in other pursuits. Narcissistic supply could come from various sources: friends, romantic partners, family members, whatever fed their insatiable ego. But here's the twist. They never expected you to reclaim your agency, to educate yourself about narcissism, to understand its impact, and to learn how to protect yourself. They underestimated your resilience, your ability to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and emerge stronger than ever. First and foremost, my heart goes out to you if you've experienced being discarded. It's truly heartbreaking to endure such a painful experience with someone toxic for an extended period. But here's the thing. You managed to break free